What's up guys, Protopet Prince here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this 3D printed color wheel. Now this wheel is perfect for holding a dozen colored pencils and a couple erasers. I will be showing you where to get the free STL files and how to assemble it properly, because this can be a little difficult to assemble. Now let's run the intro. First, we're going to want to print out our color wheel. For this, we don't need to use any supports, but we do want to use brim settings to ensure that the spokes do not curl. Now, we are going to test fit each of the color pencils. To do this, we're going to use a heat gun to slowly twist the pencils into each location. The reason for this is that we want it to be so tight that the pencils won't fly out while spitting, but also not too tight so that they can be removed at our leisure. Now, one thing to look out for is while using the heat gun, if the brim starts to curl, then you want to stop using the heat gun. This ensures that you don't accidentally warp the color wheel. Once all of our colored pencils are installed, we can use the heat gun to give it one more pass. The reason for doing this is to eliminate some of the internal stresses within our part and make it less likely that our part's going to crack or break while being used. Once this is done, we can start removing the brim. Next, we're going to be making our custom ball bearings, which utilize 3/16 inch ball bearings. Now, for this, we're going to print out 2 of the split ball bearing pieces. This will be used to make our piece and glue it together. And we will also need to print out the pin. So first, you place your pin down and cover it with the first half of the ball bearing. Then, you put in all of the small 3/16 inch ball bearings so that it completely surrounds the pin. The reason I didn't videotape doing this is it can be a little tedious, but it is very possible. Once this is done, use some super glue and a Q-tip to glue the 2 halves of the ball bearing coupling together without getting any glue on the small 3/16 inch ball bearings. This way it should be able to spin very easily and you'll be able to test it once the glue dries. If you want to spin a little bit faster, you can add some WD-40, but that's not completely necessary for this project. Once the ball bearings dry, you can work on installing them into the base. I'd also like to note there's an option that only requires the pin and no ball bearings called the uncut version, but that won't spin nearly as fast. So for this, I recommend putting the base onto the pin so that you don't need to lift the pin and risk dropping those ball bearings all over the place. Once you have that slid in, it should fit perfectly, and you can add some super glue to the edge of the pin. Now, you can just take your color wheel and place it onto the pin and press it in so that it should stick. I recommend giving it at least an hour to dry, because if your color wheel falls off your base, it could potentially break, and you just spent all of that time with your heat gun trying to get those pencils to fit perfectly. Now that your assembly is all together, you can test out your spinner and like the video below.